everyone, I'm Sarah and welcome back to my crochet channel. Today's video we're going to make these cute and super easy little ghost coasters. Now they can be a coaster or they can be a decoration. You can make a bunch of them and put them in a bunting, use them as place markers for your Halloween party, or just have them sitting around for a fun decoration. Now you can also make them happy or scary. Just depends on what kind of party that you want to have. And it's also fun to make a bunch in both ways and change all the little bows in different colors for different guests. You can also use them as place markers for your Halloween party, and your guests can use it as a coaster and then take it home as a remembrance of the fun time they had at your Halloween get-together. Now you can find the free crochet pattern along with the pictures and other notes that you might need. As always, I'll put that link down in the notes underneath this video. To make some little ghosts, you're going to need some yarn, of course. I used this. It's called I Love This Cotton. It's from Hobby Lobby, and it has a sparkle in it. I don't know if you can see that in my light, but it has a metallic thread running through it, and it really makes really cute ghosts. I hope you can see that sparkle. But you don't have to use that particular yarn. If you don't want to, you can use a regular white cotton. And if you're not going to use them as a coaster and you want to use them as a decoration, you can use any medium weight number 4 yarn for your ghosts. I just really love this white. I love this cotton sparkle. You're going to need a little bit of black and a little bit of another color. The black for the facial features, and then a bow. And I'm going to do a little purple bow on the one I'm going to make today for our demonstration. Now, as far as the amount you need is maybe 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces, depending on how tightly that you stitch. And you know, I always tell you a little more yarn than you actually need because I don't want you to run out, of course. All right, we're going to stitch with our H hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. You need a needle for weaving in your ends, for adding your facial features, and of course for sewing on your little bow. And then of course you're going to need your scissors. We're going to begin with our slip knot and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our chain 3 here is going to count as our first stitch, and we're going to stitch 9 more in the 4th chain from the hook. So we'll go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. And now we need to stitch 8 more because our chain 3 counts as 1, and we stitched 1. So this is 3, 4, 5, drop it off my hand here, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's count again just to make sure I got that right. Here's our chain 3, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 double crochets. We're going to join to the chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. And before we go to round 2, we're going to go ahead and weave in our tail of yarn. If you prefer to do the magic circle for round 1, you certainly can. Remember, you do what works best for you. I just prefer this method for this pattern. All right. So now for round 1, we have 10 double crochets. We joined to our chain 3 and chained 3. Let's do round 2. On round 2, we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of these stitches. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, so we'll double crochet in that same stitch. All right, now we're going to go into each of those double crochets and stitch 2 double crochets. Two double crochets in each of the double crochets all the way around and join back to our chain 3. I've stitched 2 double crochets in each of those 10 double crochets, so for round 2 we have 20 double crochets. We're going to join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. So for row 3, we're basically going to repeat what we did on row 2. Our chain 3 counts as our first, so we'll double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3, and then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets around. And so the first row had 10, the second had 20, and so our third round or row, it is a round, we'll have 40 double crochets. And this will make a nice flat circle to shape our ghost. We want our coaster to be nice and flat so our cup doesn't roll off of it. All right, so 2 double crochets in each of those double crochets all the way around and then join back to our chain 3. I completed round 3, stitching 2 double crochets in each of my double crochets around. I joined to my chain 3 and I chained 1 instead of chaining 3. And now we're going to form the shape of our ghost. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet in the first double crochet. We're going to skip the next double crochet, and then in the next we're going to stitch 5 double crochets, and this is our shell stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we stitched 5 double crochets all in that same stitch. Now we're going to skip the next double crochet and stitch 1 double crochet in the next stitch. We'll skip the next stitch and then again stitch our shell stitch, which is 5 double crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 double crochets all stitched in the same stitch. We're going to skip the next stitch and double crochet in that next stitch. Then we'll skip the next and stitch a shell stitch in the next stitch, which is 5 double crochets in the same stitch. There's 3, 4, and 5. Now we'll skip the next stitch and single crochet in the next stitch. All right, so let's look at the bottom of our ghost. We single crocheted, skipped 1, 5 double crochets. We skipped 1 and stitched 1 double crochet. We skipped 1 and stitched 5 double crochets in the next stitch. We skipped 1, stitched a double crochet in the next stitch, skipped 1 and then stitched 5 double crochets in the next stitch, skipped 1 and then single crocheted in the next. And now to finish off our round 4, we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of the stitches going all the way around. We're going to stitch a single crochet going all the way around the top of our ghost and then also around the bottom. All right, so let's go around the top first, and then I'll show you how to go around the bottom of your ghost. I stitched 1 single crochet around the top of my ghost, and now we're just going to do the same thing. You're going to put a single crochet in that first single crochet in each of the double crochets of our shell stitch. Then single crochet in that double crochet, and then single crochet in each of the double crochets around the bottom, stitching 1 in each stitch. And this is going to help our little ghost hold its shape nicely. All right, so now we're back around here where we did our first single crochet. So we'll single crochet in there and then slip stitch in the next stitch. We'll tie off. We'll go to the back and pull that loop through so it's nice and neat, and we can tie off to the back of our ghost. All right, so here's our ghost. The bottom, that looks like the bottom of the ghost, and of course around the top. And we'll take our needle and go ahead and weave this in, and then I'll show you how to add the face and the bow. So you can do the face either as a scary ghost or a happy ghost. I kind of like the happy. To make the scary one, the eyes are the same. You just do a couple of lines, and then if you want to add a French knot, you can, and I'll show you how to do that first. So we're going to do the eyes first. The main thing is you want to go through stitches and not holes. If you go through the holes, you'll lose your eye. All right, that sounds funny, but you'll lose it. It'll fall out. All right, so we're going to go up through a stitch, and I'm going to leave a little bit of tail. Okay, and then we're going to go through a stitch here. Placement of the eyes is up to you. Okay, now if I just want to make a plain eye, I can just make 2 stitches. But if I want a French knot, like these have the little French knots, then you come back up into the center of the eye. I did 2 wraps because I didn't want it to be too big. And you don't want to go down the same spot. You want to go next to it, but in the stitch. And that'll give you a cute little eye. All right, so let's do the other one. And I like to go on the back. I forgot about this. And kind of go between those stitches so my thread doesn't show through. We're only going through the back of the stitches. There we go. And we'll do this one the same way. We'll go through the stitch. We'll make 2 slits. This one only has the 2 stitches. It doesn't have the French knots. This one here has the French knots. Okay? So you can do it either way. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you prefer. All right, so let me pull that string a little, and I'll do my French knot. I just do 2 wraps on the needle, and then I go back in a little farther down, because if you go back in the same hole, when you're dealing with crochet, sometimes you'll lose the stitch, and we don't want to do that. All right, to make this one, all you do is you do 3 lines that looks like its mouth is open. Okay, this one, you're going to make your little line, you're going to make a stitch of the smile, and then the little line. All right, I like to kind of work my way under the stitches again, trying for it not to be seen from behind, from in front, okay? And I'm going to make the little smile. So I want to make a little line. I'm going through stitches again. There we go. And I'm going to follow the center of this over to here. All right, so we're going to come up under here. I got tangled, that's okay. All right, so now I'm just going to go in and out these stitches. And I'll go behind like this. Then I'll go to the next portion. And I'm stitching in the stitches, not the holes. And of course, it's up to you how big you want your smile to be. And I want to try to make it even. So I'm going to go ahead and make my line that goes across. Oops, there we go. For the top of the smile. And we want to make sure again we're going through a stitch. There we go. And then I'll come back here and finish my smile. There we go. Now, when you're weaving these in, you got to be very careful because you don't want knots. Anything that forms a knot is going to make a bump that your cup's not going to hold. You don't want your cup of hot cider or something to fall over. All right, and so I just sort of weave in those stitches in the back like this. Try to keep them flat. Okay, so there's my happy ghost. Now remember, on this one, if you want this that looks like his mouth is just open, all you do is, I think I did 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches up and down, making sure you go in a stitch and not a hole. All right, so here's our happy ghost. I gave him a smile. And I'm going to do the bow in lavender. To make the bow, you just take your 2 fingers and you wrap it around about 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then we're going to cut that. So we have like a loop of yarn here. We'll set that down. Then we'll cut off 1 strand of yarn. And again, you can do this in any colors that you want to. All right, so we're going to lay this flat and we're going to lay this on it. And we're going to tie a knot. And now we have a bow. And I'm going to tie that again. All right, let's attach the bow to our ghost. And it's up to you whether you want to put it down here, to the side, to the top, whatever you want to do. I think I want mine right up here. All right, so I'm going to go through some of those loops of a stitch and grab one end and pull that to the back. And then I'll come up here and going through stitches again and pulling it to the back. That's going to give you a better hold. You want to make sure you go through some stitches so it stays put. Okay, and then we can tie a knot on this one. It's far enough at the top that you're not going to be setting your glass on it. And of course, if you're using it for decoration, it's not going to matter anyway. There we go. So now I've got a little ghost with a pretty purple bow. And I can, adjust those loops as I need to. There we go. I think we'll cut that one just a little shorter. And now there is my happy little ghost. And that's how easy it is to make our little ghost coasters. Super cute, happy or scary. Grab you a scary mug, fill it with candy or apple cider or whatever you want, and you can make a bunch of these super fun ghost coasters.